Well, let's go over the homework, go over the vocabulary and introduce the homework, and then also do some drilling from Clemens. So we begin with the verbs. You have bahan, to examine or try. It's A class in the imperfect with a patah because of the guttural. And then you have bara, to create, which is yiv ra in the imperfect, yiv ra. And then you have mashah, to anoint or smear. Related noun is Mashiach, which is can be translated Messiah, literally anointed one. And then you have azav, to leave or forsake or loose. As far as nouns, you have amet, notice a hataf patah, hataf sagol here, amet, truthfulness or faithfulness. Chen is grace or favor. Mincha is a gift or tribute or offering. Mincha. Olah is, olam is long duration, antiquity or ever. You get leolam is forever, very often translated. Sometimes people translate olam as eternity. And then avon is iniquity, guilt, or punishment for iniquity. So traditional translation is iniquity, or the punishment thereof. And notice the plural. Sometimes it looks like a masculine plural, and sometimes it looks like a feminine plural. And then Shabbat is the word for Sabbath, Shabbat, Sabbath or rest. And then a couple of other forms he throws in, az, which is then, and ad, which is until or as far as. You should not confuse ad, until, up to, as far as, the preposition, with od, introduced in the previous chapter, which means still or yet. As far as the exercises, you're going to be parsing verbal forms and translating into English. Tishmareni, for example, well, that would be a cal imperfect, either third feminine singular or second masculine singular, plus a first common singular suffix, and you could also say with also the energic noon thrown in, and that would mean either she or you masculine singular will watch me. I'm now going to move to Clemens and his exercises on page 106 for chapter 24. So number 1, izvuhu, looks like an imperative form. Second masculine plural imperative, you guys forsake him, or forsake him, it, from azav, to forsake. And then you have ve shamati, which is a vav consecutive plus a cal perfect first common singular, accent on the end, which means it's converted by consecutive form. So we translate it as if it's an imperfect, and it means, and I shall rejoice, or I will rejoice. And then you have mashoah, from mashah, to anoint. Mashoah would be the infinitive absolute, having to do with anointing, or surely anointing, or continually anointing, or again, depends on the context of the imperative. And then you have shakah noom, that looks like it is a cal perfect first common plural plus a third masculine singular suffix, which would mean we forgot them. Number 5, by Yim Shahenu is clearly a bob consecutive plus a cal imperfect, or preterite if you'd rather, third masculine singular plus a new ending, which is actually a paragogic noon or energic noon, plus a who. If you actually look at the paradigm that he gave you, he gives you the two forms. You could have either an ahu or an ainu as the ending. And this is the ainu with the extra noon that's there, which also assimilates the hay into that noon. Very slightly different than the first common singular suffix, which is anu without any doubling. But anyway, the form would mean, and he anointed him. And then you have yitzatem, which is simply the perfect second feminine plural, you went forth. That is, you ladies went forth. And then you have the akaluha that follows the pattern that you see on page 174 in the textbook, like pakaduha. That's a cal perfect third common plural with a third feminine singular suffix. Thus, the form akaluha would then be the same thing. That would be they consumed it. It being a feminine singular it, or possibly they consumed her. And then the next form is malao. And again, if you go back to the paradigm in the textbook, that seems to follow the same pattern as the cal perfect third masculine singular, shava kamats, and then o vowel suffix. And so malay means to be full or to fill, and then malao would mean he filled it. And then you have tish aluni, and the first part, tish alu, has to be a cal imperfect second masculine plural. They sha'alt, they asked, and then the ni would be a first common singular suffix. They will ask me, imperfect, they will ask me. And then the no sha'av turns out to be a participle, masculine plural with a third masculine singular suffix, the av pattern ending. And so nasa means to lift or bear. And so nosa'av would be those, or the ones bearing it, or the ones bearing him. Number 11 is tiz v'chena. The first part is clearly a cal imperfect, either second feminine, second masculine singular or third feminine singular, and therefore you translate it either she will sacrifice it, it being a feminine singular antecedent, or you will sacrifice it. And then number 12, esh lacha. Here we just have a coordinative, first common singular, let me send. Then you have the le kahunu. If you go back to the paradigm of the perfect, it follows that pattern, shava, kamatz, accent, u vowel, and nu. So le kahunu means laka is to take. They took us. Number 14 looks like a kamatz hatuf, so this is an unaccented closed syllable, and that would make it shomreini. Again, if you go back to the paradigm, it fits the pattern of the imperative with the first common and singular suffix, kodeni. And therefore you would translate it watch me as an imperative. And then you have chatanu is simply a cal perfect first common plural, we have sinned. 16, tidraiha would be a cal imperfect, second feminine singular plus a third feminine singular suffix. You will pursue her, or you will pursue it. But the you is a lady, as it turns out. Number 17, nasa'u. We're back to a simple cal perfect, third common plural. They journeyed, they set out. And then you have shakona. Turns out that that form is the imperative of shakan, to sit or to dwell, with a na ending of the second feminine plural. You ladies dwell. Then number 19, kashok hek. That's preposition ka plus a third, second feminine singular suffix ech for attached to the infinitive construct of shakach, and hence means according to your forgetting, as you have forgotten, or according to the forgetting of you. It could be the object as well. Number 20, azavatam, with a pattern of shava, kamatz, and then a tam. If you look back in the paradigm of the perfect, you have that with a third feminine singular verb followed by a third masculine plural suffix. So it's a verb in the perfect, and therefore would be translated she left them, or she forsook them, or something like that. And the last one we have time for would be nimsa. That would be a coordinative first common plural, let us find. Well, we'll stop there.